Welcome to Curtain Call. I'm Hedy Weiss, theater and dance critic for the Chicago Sun-Times, and today we are in the Joffrey studios, and we have three guests to talk about their contemporary dance program, which is coming up at the Auditorium Theater. To my immediate right is Ashley Weeder, artistic director of the Joffrey Ballet. Next to him is Amber Neumann, a veteran dancer with the company, and next to her is Brock Clawson, who's making his choreographic debut with the company with a piece called Crossing Ashland. Welcome.
It's great to see you, Hedy.
So I want to start with you, Ashley, and talk to me about how you thought about putting together the Contemporary Masters program and what contemporary really means to you.
You know, I think it's a little bit that in my career and looking at new work and how, you know, there are different ways to put a program together, and it could be a mishmash of different things, or it could be of a certain idea. And I think for me, the certain idea is we are a ballet company. We are grounded in that language, and that is our foundation. But that, you know, I think that Joffrey has always been that crossover company, and we've never been afraid to take dive into other areas. So I think to focus really on what that relationship is between classical ballet and contemporary dance, and how it's very hybridized. And I think that whether you come from a modern sensibility, you're still using language that is based in classicism. And for someone like Chris Wilden, who comes from a classical background, he has certainly dived into a more contemporary modern approach. And I think to have a program where you can focus on that and see that even though they have crossed over within the program, they are so distinctly different than each other.
Right.
And yet there are many things that you could take from one and learn from the other.
So Amber, as a dancer in these pieces, sometimes you wear pointe shoes, but sometimes you don't. Sometimes there's music that's really accessible, sometimes not. And you don't really have characters. So where do you really start with the ballets? And let's talk about the two that you're in.
Well, I will be in Crossing Ashland and also in episode 31. And I think that with Crossing Ashland, it's been a journey for us because we don't have characters, but there are definite ideas behind the movement. The challenge for me personally was to find that emotion, and without making it too much, without making it cheesy or like too dancey, but to really, he says, to make it human a lot. So I think that was a challenge for me in that.
And so you say you have there are certain things that you hold on to. What are those things in terms of defining how you think of how you're going to move?
There are certain things. There are a couple of times in the pas of Crossing Ashland where we have these moments of stillness, and it's to not be afraid to just stand. And you're looking into your partner's eyes, and sometimes that can be scary. You're on a stage, you're dancing, but to just stand for a minute and to not move, and to have that moment of, is it uncomfortable yet? Like, that's okay, it can be uncomfortable because this is our moment where we're having a conversation with our eyes and nothing else is happening.
All right, so Brock,
yes.
You created this ballet, Crossing Ashland, for the Milwaukee Ballet, although Ashland is certainly a street that every Chicagoan knows. Were you thinking about just cities in general?
No, I think I live on one side of Ashland, and I think it became a metaphor for change for me. My partner and I would always walk our dogs on one side of the neighborhood, and generally we would stay in our own little bubble, and we would always ask each other, do you want to cross Ashland? And generally it was no, and every once in a while we would, and I started then snowballing these ideas of, it became this metaphor for change. And I just took the piece and I started to work in the pedestrians versus how we go through our lives clothed as pedestrians, and then the naked vulnerability side that I also show in the work.
And just tell me a little bit about what the challenge of working for the Joffrey, which puts you in a whole different league, what that is all about.
Yeah, no pressure. Yeah. Somebody was just asking me this the other night, and I equate it to when my partner and I redid our house. I'm very happy with it, but inevitably there are things that I would like to do differently if I did it again, and it's just something you don't know until you do it. I think contemporary dancers, what contemporary dancers need and what ballet dancers need are night and day different. The way that they approach the movement, the things that are a given to one are not a given to the other. The questions that are asked are very different. So it's kept me on my game on a different level, but I've loved it. I mean, I think they're really engaging in the movement, and I think now we're at a point in the process where it's clicking, so I think we can have more fun with it.
Talk to me about what drew you to Alexander Ekman's work and how he worked with the company, or how the person who set the ballet worked with the company.
I wanted to engage the audience to look at the company in a different way. And I know that they can come and see La Bayadère and all the other things we do. But I think that for me, I've always loved contemporary dance. And I think that when you have people that understand their craft, it becomes a whole different ballgame than just someone putting a few things together.
Was Alexander in
yes,
the rehearsals?
He was here, and I think that, you know, he got here, the company didn't know him. I had met with him. He's a wonderful man. And this idea of making this film component and sitting the company down and saying, actually, guys, we really want to take you throughout Chicago on the train, in the park, but we want you to dance. And I think just negotiating, you know, is that acceptable? Where does the union stand on these issues? Right. But the company, they just, don't you think, Amber? I think
Absolutely.
all of you, they went, we want to do this, we are committed to this. And I think to see the company giving their all, in the fountain, getting soaking wet. I think that's a commitment.
Right, this is the fountain in Millennium Park.
It was pretty amazing.
So tell me, Amber, what do you remember Alexander Ekman saying to you when you were starting to work on it? What did he say the piece was?
I mean, I think there are a lot of different ideas behind the piece, but I have to say just him as a person and having him in the studio with us was such an incredible experience. And I think it was so, he has this energy and this excitement while knowing exactly what he wants and being precise. He still has the energy to get you to give your all, because I remember we came back from our summer break and that's what we went into. And then we came in on Tuesday and none of us could walk. So, but we were still, we were still in there giving our all and doing what we could do.
So the Contemporary Masters program runs February 12th through the 23rd at the Auditorium Theater. Ashley Weeder, Amber Neumann, Brock Clawson, and thank you for watching Curtain Call.